So I'm Ibrahim, Year 1 Information Security in USB. So I was asked to share about this topic. I'm not good enough because I personally faced it throughout the whole, how many weeks was it? Yeah, a few weeks of the program. So, and I've benefited from this thing, and I hope that this sharing will allow you to know that you're not the only one feeling this, and like it's okay to be like that. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. So first, I'll introduce myself first. Like what and why actually I came about this stuff now, how I grew from this, what I've learned, and how how my perspectives has changed, let's say in this semester. And if you are interested for the program, to do join the program, I'll give you some pointers. Yeah. So I think you all can tell Indian, like Indian Muslim. So generally Indian parents are very strict. So like they micromanage you. They say, oh, cannot do this, you cannot do that. So in the end, you become very sheltered, very rigid. So and they just scold you for every single thing. Do one thing wrong, never do anything, often get scolded in some sense. So in the end, I grew up to be a people pleaser, which is something I actually realized with in the last few months. And also, my background is I came from poly, same as Shane, and after NS, I took the same course in Polytechnic, cybersecurity and forensic, and I joined USP was actually to develop my talent stack, which I'm surprised that even other people also know this term. I thought it was a very known term. So I felt for a large period of my life, at least after coming uni, that I was like sleepwalking my whole life, like because of I didn't know what was I doing. Like I have a lot of like different things that was running in my mind. So I think you can see the memes here. This is like some of the things that kind of happened to me. Like I did get 30 out of 40 for test, and I was like highest in my class. So I asked my parents to sign, but they didn't sign for me because I didn't get the 2 marks. So since then, I actually kind of became very fixated on getting marks. So like it's good to understand all this so that you'll realize why like, I do certain things later on. So uni was really hard for me this semester when I first came into NUS because number one, it was COVID semester. Number two is had like I ORD'd only after I started uni. So number one, I couldn't go for any of the orientation camp. The orientation camps were online. So I really struggled to get any friends. And even if I do get friends, like it was very hard to connect with them. Like I didn't have a lot of common topics to talk about. Like, because I'll give you an example. So the first time I talked to people, we were talking normally. Then they asked me, where are you from before this? I'm from Nanyang Poly. All of them start, oh, okay. Then they just stop there. And then, like, okay. So meanwhile, those who are from JC, they just talk, hey, you know this guy from this JC, you know that guy from that JC. Then after a while, I felt like I couldn't really connect with people. Like, and I felt like we were on different wavelengths with a lot of people that um I talked with. And so coming from poly, I was a bit complacent that or maybe my first semester should be easy because I have done programming before, I have done maths before, I've done all this before. So shouldn't be that much of a problem, right? So when I came in, I was wrong. And then being in USP, have you ever felt that everyone is so passionate about every single thing? Meanwhile, you are there to learn, but everyone has so much already prerequisite knowledge. They know everything. They know so many things that you are there to just learn. And then you feel very hard to connect with them because like they're talking about something, then you're like, okay, I've never even heard of it. So you start to research, but then you can't engage in a proper conversation and then you feel like this outcast. But that's like some of the things that really happened to me. So because of this, I really panic a lot. Cause like okay, so for my USS we had to do a project where we supposed to come out with a topic and give your view from your own major. So Joel Chow's major. I mean Joel Chow's USS. So they all started writing very chim English, and then I started panicking. Oh, I can't even write. Why I never heard all these words before? What have I been doing like for all these things? So essentially, these two memes summarize my whole year one sem one. Like you keep thinking that okay, this is my maths and computing mods. The yeah, so you think so always I associated marks with like getting good marks means doing well, my confidence. And then my whole programming module, my maths module, all destroyed me, like seriously destroyed in a sense that I couldn't do programming mod. I couldn't do any maths. Essentially, my whole semester, I couldn't do these two mods, and it translated to all my mods to a point that I doubted myself. Can I even do these mods? Like, and because I feel like I couldn't keep up with any of the content. So when you study, I keep studying the whole day, and then when you want to rest, you feel, oh no, I'm not good enough. Oh no, I think I should study more. So every single time I'm in this dilemma that, okay, what do I do? So then when I talk to my friends, or when I talk to one of my friends who's in the same course as me, he's like, oh, we learn all this in poly. And I'm like, that's why we learn this. I don't even remember anything. Like what have I been doing? What did I do in poly? Like that's why I actually felt that I was sleepwalking because at that point I have no recollection whatsoever of what I learned. I know that we learn programming, but this is totally different. And he seems to be surviving fine, even though it's hard. He keeps saying it's hard. That everyone in USP seems to be finding it easy. Oh, okay, yeah, just do this mod. Then they still get good marks, this and that. Meanwhile, like because of COVID, all my lessons were online. So I didn't see anyone else except my one friend or like for my all my computing mod. So I was the only one that I supposedly saw struggling. So it was very scary. And then because like I said before, it's very hard to get along with people at the start. And because of COVID, we didn't have a good orientation camp. Yes, so then I felt that I couldn't get along because I needed to be at the same level as them to be worthy enough to be their friend. And for this whole period of transiting into uni, like I think my parents weren't really very happy that I joined USP. They said that why would you want to spend money and go stay in school when you can stay at home and go? So they kind of like guilt trip me in some way that see you want to go away from our family. Like then because I'm the people pleaser, I like okay. So I just did something wrong. So it took me very long to reconcile with myself that I did the right thing. Like I even forgot why I actually joined USP in the first place. So just nice thing the semester was over. Then I received this email. Yeah, so I was actually thinking, how do I spend my holidays? I wanted to understand what went wrong. Like I knew something was went wrong, but I couldn't pinpoint it exactly what was happening. So just now I received this email and I was like, okay, there's such a program. I didn't know. So when I went to read more details, I realized that, oh, okay, this is actually what I've been finding. Like I've been wanting to find how to be more aware and like don't feel that I'm just running the rat race or like just doing the things for the sake of doing things. And it was actually sponsored by NYC. So out of $540, you only pay $30. I'm like, okay, oh, not bad. And then the best part of them all is online. So I don't even need to get out of my house to actually attend a session. And it's good because it was just 2 hours or 3 hours per week and all at the comfort of my own house. So I thought, okay, it was good that I'm able to, go for this, give it a shot and see what I can get out of the program. So I went in without knowing anything. Yeah, so and throughout the whole 5 weeks, 5 weeks, one, two, yeah, it was 9 weeks, yes, it was like 10 weeks. But I actually went through a lot of reflection through the different coaching sessions that were held. Like Shane was actually my coach. So like I really like how she was able to, like all I have to do is just share what I'm facing. She'll give me a full analysis of what I've been facing. So I was like really shocked. I'm like, wow, I didn't know that I gave off so many details of myself. Yeah, so I realized that growing up, all my past experiences had led me to feel this self-doubt. And because something is not easy, I just quit. Because your parents always expect you to be good. Must always be the top in whatever you do. So if you do anything bad, you're not going to appease your parents. So in the end, what you do, you just quit. Oh, I'm not good enough. This and that. And I always felt that I doubted myself because I was very unconventional. A lot of the thinking that I had was different from people. So I found it very hard, especially among IT students, to get along with that. Like all they do is, or they go home, they do coding this, they code that. I'm like, why am I here? Like, what am I doing? And I realized that I was the one who's putting myself down the most. Like, so I give you an example of it. So this is a meme. They might be a bit small, but so this is just what happens when I think, okay, so if I just screw up a test or like I didn't do so well, I start thinking, okay, let's think how to do better. But then the voices in my mind, like or people will tell me, don't be positive, I don't give up, just be positive. You reflect what went wrong, you can do it. And then my own mind will come and tell me, don't bother lah. Even if you do better, like you suck, you don't deserve to be here, like you're not good enough. My mind will just tell me, yeah, if only I can just throw away all these thoughts so easily out the window. That would be nice. Yeah, but so one of the main things that I actually benefited the most was it was being introduced to this idea of PQ, this positive intelligence. I'm sure you've heard of IQ, EQ, but this was the first time I heard of this PQ. And in a nutshell, the idea is how often your mind is helping you compared to working against you. So the whole idea is if your mind is helping you, you'll be able to achieve more compared to, you have all these thoughts, hey, you're not good enough, or like you suck. So all this just derails you and you're not able to achieve what you can possibly achieve. And all these negative feelings that you feel about, oh my god, why am I doing this? All this can be somehow like explained through this concept. And the whole idea is in the mind, there are two parts. One is the sage, which is your PQ mind in a sense, where it allows you to um, make the right decisions. Sometimes you feel very calm about things, you know what you're doing. So that can be attributed to that. Meanwhile, there are saboteurs in our mind. So be it like you start judging yourself, you start being OCD, you control yourself. Hey, you can do this. If you don't do this, it's wrong. Or like people teaser. So I realized that is one of the reasons that was derailing me after all. Because I was trying to please everyone around me. And eventually, in life that you cannot please everyone. So this is one of the very most interesting concepts I've done, and I've taken away till now that I really allowed me to understand life better. It was something I could explain my life and explain the people around me better. Also, this was happening. So I really felt very peaceful just applying some of these concepts in my life. So these are some of the so we have a chance to do like own projects. So for me, it was more of understanding myself, what went wrong this sem, and like how can I be better. Like I don't want to go through all the negative feelings that I had throughout my whole sem one, which was quite disastrous. So and they just introduced the concept of PQ, but I knew that I wanted to read the book because it sounded so interesting. I'm like, I've never heard of this. So I forced myself to read a book because I knew that I might be too lazy to read otherwise. So yeah, which is a very big thing for me because I don't read books. So that's one of the first books that I read finished very fast. Like I even exceeded my own deadline that I set for myself. And another thing that came up throughout my sessions was that I was so affected by what others say, others think. Like I want to do things, but I feel like okay, what is what people will say, then I cannot do it. So in the end, I limit myself for what I can actually achieve or what I can actually do, go beyond my comfort zone. Yeah. So the other one is automation project, which is yeah, something I always wanted to do. So the first one is the PQ book where actually this whole concept is actually very simple. All you have to do is call out your saboteurs. So let's say, when you hear thoughts in your mind like, hey, you are not good enough, you can't even do this assignment. So you say, okay, so they have 10 saboteurs. The main one is called the judge. So you say, okay, the judge is telling me that I cannot do this. So all you have to do is do that, and you'll feel you'll be able to overcome these negative feelings and actually do what you're supposed to do. And by using that, you will be activating the sage, which allows you to do things peacefully and achieve more in what you're doing. So that's why I was more peaceful and really happy after the whole concept. Like to be fair, I actually didn't fight with my family at all for more than 2 weeks. Then I felt weird, like, oh, I never fight. Like, it was like a very common occurrence that I felt out of place. That was how impactful it was. But I realized that I keep having a lot of relapse. Like 1 week I'm fine, then the next week I come back to the session, I'm like, oh, I didn't even realize that my saboteurs were acting up upon me. So I was really grateful that the sessions helped me realize things, because when I was at home I didn't really interact much with people except my own family. So having an external person who's able to read and tell you, oh, this was happening, was very helpful. So this is the one I think that most of us generally face. Like we want to do a lot of things, but we think that we might be judged by people, like, or we even judge ourselves down. So this is what I wanted to work on. So if let's say my friends say something about me, hey, or they are better than me, then I start panicking. Okay, why am I not as good as them? So I stop. Okay, let's not compare with him. Okay, what I tried to explain to myself was to, okay, it's okay. On my own journey. So I try to be better than the day I was before. So and I don't my benchmark is not others of how they're successful is, but I have how I was before. When did I learn anything new this 1 or 2 days? Have I seen myself grow? So that was the baby steps that I took to not get affected. And I must say that the PQ concept really helped me, and I wasn't as affected as before. So because of that, my doubt of being in USP really decreased. Because after a while, I just got reminded why actually I joined USP, because I wanted to develop my own talents. I wanted to do more interesting modules, not just do a computing major. So and there's no need for me to actually please the people around me that I'm good enough, because I know I'm good enough. Like I think in some sense that's why you were definitely good enough. That's why you were selected by the panel to actually join USP. So I don't know why I went through so much, 1 semester or more than 1 semester, thinking whether I did the right choice. So some of the self-realization things that I find, I realize I have a very resting bitch face sometimes, that like, so my face will be just there. I'm just thinking about what's happening. But it looks as if I'm not interested. I'm doing my own things. I'm just angry. So I realized that actually during the session where someone actually said, because we have like a few people in the group, and the person said, you look like you're not interested in everything, but you are listening and analyzing everything. And I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't even know. So it was quite funny when I realized it. And I'm affected by myself the most. And I always like to carve out my own niche path. I never like being the no, okay, after you do A, you do B, then you do C. Like I never like living the rat race, or like just doing things because you have to do it. Like I want to do something in life that I was proud of. Or I wanted to do something that I don't need to please anyone. I'm doing it because I wanted to learn something and so on. So this whole course was a good reminder of my goals. And as much as I've done, strength identifying the future, this was the first time that I put everything together with my life aspirations, this and that. It started piecing all the pieces, yeah, piecing up all the different pieces in my life to say why actually, like, just explain my life. Because I really forgot about all this after COVID and so on. And the past has the past, like I might have forgotten everything I learned in poly, but now is a chance for me to learn and actually change and do my best in whatever I can in the future. So, and throughout this whole 1 year, at least after I came NS, I mean, no, after I came uni, last 6 months, I realized that I was just trying to emulate others. Like, if I emulate others, then means it's good. Like, or if people think that I'm good enough, then only I'm good enough. So, and I realized that I was like, always constantly around an area where people are like that. So just taking a step back, changing your environment a bit, like helps. And a lot of the things that, like, what Shane taught me was that you actually can observe so many things in just how a person interacts. Like, so, and when she said about me, this and that, I'm like, oh yeah. Yeah, I started analyzing myself more and even the people around me. So I started realizing, oh, so this was happening. And overall, right, like, I've learned a lot as a person. Like now I don't force myself to do things. Like, can you imagine, right, that I used to force myself to run. Hey, you never exercise or you better run. If not, you will get fat. So, or like you cannot eat too much, because if you eat too much, then you're going to gain weight. So in the end, right, this negative stress in the end caused me to gain more weight, even more than me actually not exercising. So just by stopping like the thought, okay, I don't need to run. I want to run, then I'll run. I felt more peaceful, and I felt that I still can maintain my weight. So I don't know why I had to subject myself to so much harsh treatment. Like, there's this thing that there's one quote that Shane said was very useful. Just because like he said this, you think that only good things are hard. Like if if something is good, it must be hard. But that doesn't necessarily need to be the case. Some good things can be easy. Like there's this misconception that we always have, that you must work hard, definitely, then only it's a good thing. If it's too easy for you, then it cannot be good. So that's something maybe you can think about, which started making me realize that, oh yeah, what have I been doing? Like I was thinking wrongly about all this. So of course, that doesn't mean that, oh, I'm done, I don't have any more negative thought. Like it's not possible. Okay, let's just remember that we are all humans. We are not perfect. We all have our own imperfection. We all have our own struggles. But at least now, for me, I am less affected by failure. So let's say even I failed my midterms, but now I'm like, I recover less, I recover faster. Like, okay, so I just failed. And let's do better for the next one. Instead of, oh my God, I failed, I'm not good enough to be uni, I'm not good enough to be university. Then all this negative thought, I just recover faster. And just because of that, I'm just more positive. Like, I break down less, and I don't beat myself up, or I must die get A, or die get B. So I'm focusing on the journey as a whole, not on the outcome. And because of this, I'm taking baby steps to actually carve out my niche path. So in the stuff, I actually joined a CCA called facilitators, because I wanted to know how to facilitate, like being inspired by this whole program. I wanted to learn how to deliver a content in a way that um, you are able to create an impact in the participant. So that was something that I just joined, and was actually quite interesting so far, which is one of the steps I've taken to improve myself, to hone my soft skills and so on. So last but not least, like if there's one thing y'all can take away, is that you do whatever you think is good. Do what you think you are able to do. Don't say, oh, because someone did this, you have to do it. And I just think the inner critic not necessarily is right. Like you don't need it to achieve more. If you can use your sage, you can actually achieve more. And when anyone tells you you're not good enough, just say you are good enough, no matter what. Every human is unique in their own way. You are just something which someone has yet to discover about you. So yeah. So if you are interested in actually joining, go in with an open mind. Like I think that you also take some effort from yourself to actually want to induce change in your life. Like you come in thinking the program will just change your life. No, you need to also put in some effort. Like you also have to do your own reflection. What's happening? What is your strength? What's your weakness? And cannot expect immediate change. It's not a instant magic potion that all your worries will go away. But like change will definitely happen. So just be patient. And if you can do join with friends, I think it will make your sessions more interesting. So thank you.